Okay, so we're going to go over creating some view templates and kind of different ways of setting up your project files and that sort of thing. This is a really rough kind of in progress project here. You can see I've got a bunch of different section lines here, and I'm using these section lines so that I can see the walls and create this sort of wainscoting, this sort of contemporary looking wainscoting along the walls here. I've also got a bunch of them over here that are being used for, if we go to the 3D view, creating this little kitchenette area back in here. You can tell there's no crown molding or anything like that on it yet, so it's kind of in progress here and kind of working through some design ideas and that sort of thing. Um, so we can create a cleaner model here by just kind of giving ourselves a couple different views and a couple different types of plan, section, that sort of thing. So one of the things that I like to do, and I purposely did not do it in this file yet so that I could get to this point and show you a couple different things. So I have my level 1 and I have my level 2 floor plans here. What I typically like to do is I like to take level 1 and I like to duplicate the view with detailing. So now I have an exact copy of that level 1, and I'm going to rename this to W-level 1. And basically the W just stands for a working view. And then level 1 will be my sort of construction view. And then I'll also duplicate it again and then name the second one P-level 1. So this will be my presentation view. So I have these couple different versions of level 1 here. In the working view, I want to be this is the view that I primarily work around in. I don't, after I've set them up, I do not touch the level 1 and P-level 1 once they've been kind of set up. So my working view is the sloppy view. It's the view that all of this stuff is worked out in. It's also the view that I tend to do different stuff where before I'd worked out the stairs, I might have taken some detail lines over this and started to figure out, okay, how's this stair going to work? Can I do some sort of rounded end kind of thing? Like before I 3D model stuff, a lot of times I'll take a detail line and start to sketch it out kind of real roughly, just to kind of quick and easy, sloppily get stuff down on the page so I can work through an idea that way. In another sense, what I like this working view for is I can change the way I'm viewing this. So let's say I had something where I know there's cabinets underneath here. If I highlight this casework that I've created here, you can see the outline of these cabinets underneath there, and then there's the overhang of the countertop that the chairs are tucked underneath. If I wanted to do a floor transition from, say, hardwood out here over in this area to kind of a tile over in here, I want that tile to, say, line up with the edge of the countertop, but I can't see that without highlighting over it, and I can't snap to that right now. So in this working view, I can change my view type to wireframe here, and now I can see all of this different stuff here. And now I could come in and draw a line across here and say, okay, that's going to be my break where my tile to hardwood transition happens. So this kind of view is really nice to work and kind of get all of these sections and that sort of stuff. So when all of these are pulled up, I probably am not going to use this section in my construction drawings. There's just no reason for me to see that view, but it's nice to have where I can go in and see how the stair's working, work out kind of different details around the stair, and that sort of thing. So when all the sections are visible, I can right-click on any of them and hit Go to View. I don't have to come over here in the sections and try to sort through section 1 through 9. I could name these all something, but it's just easier rather than coming in here and reading a bunch of names. If I know this is the one I want, just come over, right click on it, and hit Go to View. Now in, say, these other views, in like my level 1, my clean view, I don't I probably don't want to have all these section lines running around my entire drawing. I want a nice clean plan that basically shows me just the things that I want. So we can get around that by creating a view template. So if we go to the view template here, we can go to architectural plan, and I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to name this construction plan. And now that I've got this duplicated, I can say, okay, I'm going to say that all of my construction plans are probably going to be around 1/4 inch. I know that's probably going to be the maximum size that I'm going to be able to fit on my sheet. So I'm going to say, okay, all of my construction plans are going to be at 1/4 inch. Display mode, this has normal, halftone, and do not display. Halftone is exactly what it sounds like. It basically just grays everything out to half the opacity. Do not display will just show you nothing. You're almost always going to have this as normal. Detail level, right now it's at coarse. On my construction plans, a lot of times I'll go with fine. What fine does is it'll show you more detail in kind of the wall makeup and how that all works in the different layers of the wall. So it'll show you, like around these, it'll show the stone, it'll show the cement backer, and then it'll show the stud makeup and that sort of stuff. So I tend to like to keep stuff on fine, but when you get into like a site plan and that sort of stuff, a lot of times it might be nice to throw those on coarse, so you're getting just a general overview of how the plan's working. Parts visibility, we'll get into what parts and that sort of stuff, how those work a little bit later on, but you can either show the original, which is this, show parts, or show both. You'll understand that better when we kind of go over parts. But now we're going to get into the visibility and graphic overrides. So this is where things start to really kind of take shape into this view. So under model categories, these are all sort of 3D elements and how they're being displayed. With all of these being 3D elements here, they all have kind of different components that make them up. So under casework, you have the hidden lines. Under ceilings, you've got common edges and hidden lines. Things like doors, there's a bunch of different things. So do you want to see the trim? Do you want to see the plan swing? Do you want to see panels? Like all of that stuff are things you can turn on and off within this view here. So some common things that you may want to turn on and off in the 3D view. One of the main things are under stairs. So you can see in my view here, there's a cut line here, and these stairs run all the way up. But I'm seeing all of these extra treads here, and even though I have a door back here, this looks like I'm opening up right on top of some stairs, but you know there's some storage space underneath that stair, which is what this door is accessing. So we want to show that the stairs are going up. At the break line, they all basically terminate, and then this is a nice clean shown closet here. So all of these things that say above, so this is all the stuff that's being shown that's above the cut mark. So I'm going to turn all of those off. If I turn those off and I come down here and hit apply, well, I haven't applied the view template, so it's not going to change down here yet. But so we're going to change those stairs. Another thing that you might often turn off are the railings. So any railing that is above a cut line, you can turn those off as well. You can go through and turn off any casework, so cabinetry, that sort of stuff that you don't want to see any furniture that's in the view. So you could go through and place furniture all around, and maybe you have a furniture plan that shows all of that, but you don't want to see it in your construction view. You can just turn furniture off here. Any sort of 3D element that you don't want to see in that view, you can go through and turn off, or any elements that are a part of that. So then I'm going to go into the annotation categories. This is all the 2D stuff. So I can come through and maybe I don't want to see any dimensions in this one. I can turn those off. I can also turn off, if I scroll all the way down here, In this view, I don't want to see any of those sections. So turn off those sections, so I won't see any of those. Other things that you may want to turn off, you could turn off any tags, so wall tags, any window tags, door tags, that sort of stuff. If for whatever reason this view had a bunch of things tagged in it and you don't want to see those, you can go ahead and turn those off. Analytical model categories, this is your analytics, so this is kind of all of that stuff that's under that Analyze tab that we talked about. They fall under a separate category. You can turn those on and off. I don't have any in this model because I'm not going to be analyzing it. Imported categories, I don't have anything imported, so otherwise I could turn imported CAD files, any linked Revit models, that sort of stuff. I can check those on and off here. And then filters, that's a whole different thing. We'll get into filters a little bit later. So I will hit OK. And so we've just gone through overrides the model, the annotation, the analytical, import, and filters. Model display, this is basically the stuff that's right down here by your scale. So I want this to be in hidden line and show just how it is here. I'm not going to have any shadows on, sketchy lines, I'm not going to have any of that on, lighting or photographic exposure. Some of this stuff is strictly for views that are in that are set to realistic mode. But I want this to be a clean kind of construction drawing. So I'm going to keep that at hidden line and hit OK. So there's the sketchy lines, lighting, photographic exposure. Underlay orientation, we do not have an underlay here, but I could throw an underlay on there that is like, if I'm on the second plan, I could throw an underlay that's the first plan if I wanted to. It's not very often that in a construction drawing you would want that, but you can do that and you can have it looking down or looking up in that view. View range, this can get a little complicated at times, but depending on where you want your cut plane to be. So if you have all of your windows have a windowsill height of say 4'6" for whatever reason, none of your windows will show up in this view currently because my cut plane is at 4 foot. Everything above 4 foot will not show up. 4 foot's kind of a standard cut plane level. It's kind of in between your countertops and your upper cabinets sort of thing. It cuts through doors. It's usually cutting through most windows, that sort of thing. The top range of this, it's going to show up to 7'6", and then the bottom is at 0 foot. I could make this -6 inches, and if for whatever reason I wanted to see what's on the floor below this, I could make this less than 0, and then all of a sudden all of that stuff starts to show up. And if I associate this with less than 0, I can all of a sudden select that stuff. Usually this will get you where you want to be, but if you need to change anything like that, you can do it here. The cut plane comes in handy when you're in your working view. So in your working view, a lot of times I will change the cut plane up and down to get to where I want to be to see the stuff that I'm working on currently. But in a construction view, a lot of times these values will get you where you want to be. The only thing that you usually need to change is the cut plane. So we're going to leave that alone. Project orientation, project north and true north, that's pretty much set within, as long as I model everything straight up and down, so north is at least close to up, I can always rotate true north 10 degrees or wherever I need it to be at. Phase filter, so all of this is new. There's nothing that's going to be existing, but when we get into phases, I'll show you how that kind of stuff works. But for right now, this works just fine to show all, or I can change this to show complete. Show complete will get rid of any demoed items, anything like that. It'll just show what the final product is going to be. Discipline, architectural, you can change this to structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, or coordination. This comes into play when you're creating a construction document set and you're developing your drawing sheet list. So on your cover sheet, you might have a list of all the drawings that compose that drawing set. and they're usually grouped by discipline. So you might have all of your architectural drawings blocked together, then below that all of the civil and that sort of thing. If you set this to architectural, then it'll recognize that and group all of the architectural together, all the civil similarly all the way down. Show hidden lines. This is basically, you can show all of them. So this essentially will create something where if you've defined that something is going to be a hidden line, it's going to show up when you say I want all. By discipline, this is typically what you want. You don't want to be seeing tons of hidden lines all over the place. It makes drawings fairly difficult to read. Color scheme, we'll get into that when we get into the presentation plan there. But for now, we've got a color scheme of none, and we're okay with that. And depth clipping, we'll keep that set to none. You can set a depth clipping where maybe I don't want to see the floor in this. Maybe I want to see all the way down to like 6 inches off the floor or something like that in this view. I can set that clipping plane here where I won't see all the way down to the bottom of this level here. You can also do something similar to that with the view range there. So I will hit apply, and now all of that takes effect. So all of my section lines are gone, all of the lines above my stair cut line are gone, railings are also gone, so this creates a fairly clean construction plan and is jump this to 1/4 inch. Now if I try and change the scale in this plan, it will not let me because it's now a part of the view template. I have to come in here to change it. If I change it in this view template, any other plans that have this view template applied are going to change. So now if I go to level 2, I can take this view template and just apply construction plan, hit OK, and then everything is going to correspond accordingly. So now this is 1/4 inch scale, none of my section lines are showing up. Since I'm on the second floor, you're seeing the stairs going down here, so there is no cut line where it's going to eliminate those or anything like that. So in this view, I'm also seeing an underlay here, so under underlay range, I'm seeing level 1. But if I don't want to see level 1, now all I'm seeing is the stairs because that's the only thing associated with level 2 here. But if I were going to draw a second floor, it'd be handy to have that underlay on there. I can't impact this level 1 right now, so it's not that big of a deal to have it there. So it's not like you're going to click on something on a different level and drag it around when you didn't want to. So that's essentially view templates in creating a construction plan. So there's our level 1 kind of construction plan. Obviously we're in progress here, so as we build more things into this, this will kind of populate, and then at the very end I can come in and dimension this whole thing and know that I've got a perfectly clean plan to kind of go ahead and do that with. Next we'll go to our presentation plan. So we'll create a view template for that. So we will come in, and I essentially want the construction plan with all of this stuff gone, but then I want to create a color scheme that goes on top of it. So I'm going to duplicate the construction plan template that we've already got and name this presentation plan. And 1/4 inch works for this as well. If I wanted to change the scale, I could. But everything else essentially stays the same. I could go in if I wanted to show something different, like maybe in my presentation plan I wanted to see the furniture that I turned off in the construction plan. I could turn that back on if I wanted to. But for now we're going to go into our color scheme, and we'll go color scheme and scheme 1. We'll duplicate and we'll name this presentation plan 1. So you could create a couple different color schemes, and if you duplicate this level 1 a couple times, you could have multiple level 1 presentations with different color schemes depending on if you wanted to call different things out and do like a little spot color here and there. So I'm going to change this from spaces to rooms because I'm going to be working with rooms here. And then I'm going to say, oops, I'm going to go to name, and I'm going to add a value. And essentially this space is going to be a big kind of rec room area. This will be a kind of a rec room area. This will be a child's play area, an office space, and then a kitchenette over here. So I'm going to name one kitchenette. I'm going to name another one rec room, another one play area, and then a fourth one office. So I can come through and change these colors to whatever I want. It shows a solid fill. I can also change these to different hatch patterns. So I could come in and say I want this to be an earth pattern. I want this one to be wood. And you can see the preview over here of how these kind of work. We'll keep that one as a solid fill, and we'll change this one to concrete, we'll say. And we'll say OK. Now when I apply this here, all of those take effect, but you see there's no color scheme yet. And the reason for that is I haven't tagged any of these rooms. So I'm going to do a room separator, and I'm going to create an area that is the play area right over here. And we'll just define this as the play area here. So this space will be the play area, office, rec room, and then we are going to define the kitchenette as this zone here. So another thing that might be useful, if I go back into my view template here, maybe I don't want to see these lines because they're not really the most attractive things in the world. So I can come back in under my annotation categories here, and I can go down to, so these are room tags. It may be under model categories, so let's go under rooms. Let's see, I want room separation lines. Maybe they are over here. Reference planes. Well, I'm not seeing them here. They are buried in here somewhere. They may not be called exactly the same thing that I'm thinking of, but there's another way we can get rid of these. We can right-click on one of them and hide all of these elements. So we can select those and select that one and hit hide elements. And now that those are hidden, if I come up here to room, you see if I place this room in here, it highlights kind of around that edge. So I can place that one, I'll place that one, place that one, and place that one. So you see how this rec room area defined the stair here. So maybe I don't want that to define the stair, so I'm going to come through and I'm going to turn on the hidden element so I can see that line that I made. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw around this element here. So now, when I hover over this, it just selects that area. I don't have that stair encompassed in that space. So I'll turn that off. And now when I select this room, I can name this. Instead of room, I'm going to name this. And as soon as I type P, you can see it pops up because that is already being used by my color scheme. So I'll hit play area. And then I'm going to hit this one, and I'm going to say this one is rec room. And I'm going to drop down here and say this one's office. And this one is kitchenette. Okay, so all this is being applied here. So now let's go to our presentation plane here. And our color scheme that's being applied here. So we have a room name, color by name, by value. All of this should be good to go. So we'll apply that, hit OK. And then the color scheme, I'm going to bring that to the foreground. And then we will hit OK here. And let's see here. For some reason they are not showing up. I don't believe I have a floor already in here. Let's see if we can put something in here real quick. Okay, so we got that in there. And I've got my my rec room here. Let's go. I don't believe that should impact it, but nope. Let's see here. For some reason our color scheme is not showing up here, so we will just have to troubleshoot this on the fly here. Okay, so if we come down here and look for color scheme, oh, here's why. Okay, so this is include. We just need to turn this on. We apply that, and now it all shows up. It's the small things that screw you up. Okay, so here's all of our hatch patterns. Obviously, I would never create a plan that includes all of these, but you can see how you can create these hatches and everything, and you could do hardwood floors, you could do pretty much whatever you want and create some sort of colored presentation plan that starts to show off different spaces in different ways here. And since this is in the background, if I place furniture on this, it will sit over top of these patterns, kind of like how this is working here, where the furniture isn't being overshadowed by the pattern. This prevents you from creating presentation plans in Photoshop and that sort of stuff, having to go in and include all of that. And since we already, if I'm in my working view, and let's say I create a new wall, let's say I come in over here and I want to create like a little closet on this side here. So if I create this little closet here, now if I go back to my presentation view, it automatically eliminates that from that room. And if I go to my level 1, that's included as well. So my working view can be kind of a sloppy mess. I can start placing doors and that sort of stuff. I can use all of these views, but always know that I have these clean views, this presentation and clean view always there ready to print, without too much fuss to get them to look nice. So that's kind of the benefit of these presentation view, construction view, and working views, and how you set up your file over here. So I could also rename this level 1, say C-level 1, so that I have construction views. Now you saw that little message pop up. That's just asking me, do I want to rename the level C-level 1? I don't necessarily want to do that, so that when I go to my south view, this would say C-level 1. I just want to rename the view. I don't want to rename the entire level itself. So now I've got that all pretty much worked out. I can basically continue working in this project under my working view and create this entire model using this view that can be kind of sloppy, and I don't have to worry about what I'm doing in here, working out ideas. Once I finally put them in 3D, they're going to show up in these other two views. Just periodically, every now and then, it's nice to come back and check these just to make sure there's not something that you've added that you forgot to take out in your visibility and graphics, in your template there. So just check them occasionally, but for the most part they'll always be pretty much good to go and ready to print for you. So it's nice to have those 3 different views of the same thing, so that if you're in a pinch, you need something really quick, you've always got them ready to go and pretty much ready to print form. So if you had just this view, this would take a little bit of finagling to get this to look pretty nice, especially if you have a big project, going through and finding all of the stuff that's is in here but you don't want to see, and all of that starts to get kind of obnoxious. So that's the benefits of construction, presentation, and working views.